Andreas, thank you. And thank you for the invitation. I apologize for not being able to be with you, but we're running a workshop at the same time at the National Research Foundation on Energy and Climate Change. I'll go directly to the question. I find it a very interesting question, but allow me first to start with a very quick analogy by way of introduction. Let's just imagine a sort of once healthy and fit person who's put on weight. He's a heavy smoker, he's a heavy drinker. He's really neglected his physical condition. He's entirely let go. And so this person visits his doctor and asks, do I have time? Do I have time to recover and to regain my health? I presume that the response from the doctor will be, yes, you do have enough time, but you need to seriously change your ways. And so my answer to the question that's being posed today is, yes, we do have marginally enough time to reverse the loss of biodiversity, but what are the preconditions? First and foremost, I think we really need to understand the real urgency of the issue and drastically close the gap between intention and action. We now have in place the Kunming-Montreal Agreement. It's a new global framework which commits the world to halting and reversing biodiversity loss by 2030. So biodiversity now has a global goal, which is considered by some the equivalent to climate's 1.5 degrees Celsius. The agreement has a central target of conserving at least 30% of land, freshwater, and ocean globally. Today, just something like 17% of the world's land and less than 10% of its seas are under protection. And let's not even talk about effective protection. So the target is finally in place, and nature just might have a fighting chance. But we must now see immediate implementation. No excuses, no delays. And implementation takes place on the ground, in the water, at a national and local level. And this brings me to my second precondition. Governments must now translate these global goals and update their national strategies and their action plans, backed, of course, by adequate funding. Now, this sounds simple and straightforward enough, but let's just look at the example of our own country, where the European Court of Justice has already condemned Greece for its failure to adequately protect Natura 2000 areas. So there's still a great deal that needs to be done to align national commitment and action to global goals. Thirdly, we need to recognize the true value of nature, just as the ailing patient must recognize the true value of health. Nature has an intrinsic value, and it's our moral duty to actively acknowledge this and do something about it. But nature also is linked to so many important aspects of our economy and our well-being. The World Economic Forum has estimated that implementing nature-positive policies could generate more than $10 trillion in new annual business value and create close to 400 million jobs by 2030. Final point, reversing the loss of biodiversity cannot be seen as a separate topic from that of addressing the climate crisis. Just as climate change is altering habitats and ecosystems, the loss of biodiversity is actually contributing to climate change and intensifying its effects. Look at the example of wildfires that we're all too familiar with, unfortunately. Higher temperatures caused by climate change are making forests drier and more vulnerable to wildfires. And in turn, these wildfires are releasing more carbon, speeding up the greenhouse effect even further. Thank you.